Hello everyone and welcome. This is Desiree Shannon coming from the Leadership Communication Studio. Today we're going to be talking about creating an effective poster, then presenting it. On the left, you'll find that this is an example of what a poster symposium will look like. You will find poster boards being set side by side, and then posters on the front and the back of the board. In the picture on the right, you'll see a gentleman dressed in dress slacks, a nice dress shirt, and a tie. This is business professional. You want to make sure when presenting your poster that you look professional and as professional as your poster looks. So, to start, we're going to talk about the components of a poster. First and foremost, your title. This is what draws your readers in, your viewers in. This is what conveys your issue that you're trying to solve with your research subject. The next is your abstract. Keep your abstract short. This is a summary of the poster, of the entire poster. The next part is your introduction. This is where you display your background information. This is why the subject is interesting to the viewer. And then include your hypothesis and what exactly you're trying to solve based off your research question. Of course, the next component are your materials and methods. This is where you describe what you did and how you did it, what materials you used to accomplish this. And you can't have research without results, so always display results with figures or tables. And you'll want to make sure that you summarize these results in your summary/conclusion. You summarize your major points and then answer your hypothesis. And most importantly, cite your literature. Have a reference of journals that you utilized, any other books that you utilized cited on your poster. And if you were sponsored, make sure you acknowledge those sponsors. If you were sponsored to do your research, you need to thank them on your poster. Poster preparation. First and foremost, text. The text, it needs to be consistent, using consistent language throughout the whole poster. You need to make sure that you double, triple, quadruple check for spelling errors. And not just yourself checking, but having other people read your poster before you decide to print it. And then bordering. You might want to border some of your data. You do not have to border, and you do not have to border your text. Images. So data graphs and tables. They need to tell a story. They need to be significant to your subject. Make sure you have captions and legends, that you tie it all back in to the text. It has to be significant to what you are trying to convey. And of course, making it flow together. Make sure everything is cohesive, that it flows from title to abstract to background information. Some points to remember. Look and feel. This seems to be a gut feeling. If it looks and it feels alright, most likely it is alright. Use that kind of rule of thumb to judge whether or not your poster is ready to print. Size. Always double check to see what your symposium requires of poster size. Poster sizes can vary. We recommend 3 foot by 4 foot for the Undergraduate Research and Poster Symposium at Purdue University. Use the 3-foot rule. If you could stand 3 feet in front of your poster and still read everything that's on your poster, then it's a pretty good rule of thumb and it's pretty okay to print. And grab the attention of your audience. Make sure it's eye-catching, it's pleasing, it's something that you want to read and learn more about. As far as fonts go, we recommend using sans serif styled fonts, such as Arial, Comic Sans, and then Helvetica. Make sure your title is no larger than 80-point font, but that your text is no smaller than 24 to 32-point font. And then colors. Utilize colors that, even if somebody were to be colorblind, that it would still be clear to read what is being displayed with that color. This is an example of what a title might look like, but you can barely read it. You don't even know what it says. But this is better. This is where you include your title front and center at the top of your poster. It needs to have your name, your professor's name, and maybe mentors that also assisted with the research. You also want to give affiliation to yourself and any other people who helped you with your presentation. All right, here is a sample of data. But what is good about this data? It's easy to read. You can clearly see there are 3 colors represented and that they have a purpose. It has a key. It tells you what east is represented by, west, and north. But what is missing? It's missing a y-axis label. What is this 10, 20, 30, 40 y-axis meaning? Is it percentage? Is it number of sales? Make sure you label your axes. And then it needs a title. What exactly is this data supposed to represent? Every figure needs to have a title. And of course, statistics. Now, putting it all together. This is an example of what you might develop your poster presentation to look like, but it's incorrect. As you can see, the title is spelled incorrectly, abstract is spelled incorrectly, and that the results and conclusions you can barely read, as well as the procedures. You're using contrasting fonts, it's cluttered together, it's all jumbled up, you can't read it. It's not a good example of what your poster should look like. But moving on, this is a better example. You're utilizing the white space for your title. You can read what your presentation is supposed to be about. It's balanced. It's not jumbled together. They're not using conflicting font colors with backgrounds. It is easy to read, and it has every component that is required of a poster. In this presentation, we have some cool websites you can utilize to have templates for your posters. When you go to print your poster, if you are a Cranert student, we will print your poster for free through the Leadership Communication Studio. Check out our website and get into contact with one of the leadership consultants. Now we're going to talk about how to present the content. Make sure that it's no longer than 5 minutes. Have a brief introduction. State your hypothesis and your problem, and then tell a story, but a brief story. Discuss the methods that you utilized. Discuss what your data means and how you interpret it to mean. And describe what your figures and tables show. Make sure you summarize your findings, and then consider the results with alternatives. And indicate what you were speculating about. It's okay to respond to questions with, "I do not know." Be professional. Always make sure you are dressed appropriately and behaving appropriately. Utilize correct grammar. And communicate. And communicating doesn't just boil down to speaking, but also making eye contact. Make sure you make eye contact and use a pause effectively to engage your audience. And be enthusiastic about your subject. Speak clearly, enunciate, so that nothing can get convoluted. Tell a story with your poster, and then be prepared to answer questions. But most importantly, practice. Practice, practice, practice. If you have any further questions about research or how to get involved, please check out the Leadership Communication Studio's website at the Krannert School of Management.